Carolina Musings continues with a story that happened along the coast of North Carolina. In the year 1587, a group of English settlers came to Roanoke Island, North Carolina to start a new life. But 3 years later, more than 100 of the colonists disappeared. That started one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. Now, 400 years later, archaeologists have found evidence that sheds light on where the colonists might have gone. Scott Dawson is a native of Hatteras Island, hobby archaeologist, and he spent more than 10 years excavating a site on the island. He found thousands of artifacts from the ground. The treasure was mostly tools, beads, and arrowheads of Native American origin, but along with all of those things were items that belonged to English settlers. Well, Scott Dawson believes he and a team of experts have located what was a survivors' camp, where most of the colonists moved and mingled with the Croatan tribe of American Indians. The lost colony of Roanoke is one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. It's drawn all kinds of attention from experts from around the world to what is now the Outer Banks of North Carolina, with the hopes of uncovering clues to what caused the disappearance of 115 English settlers. Well, Dawson has always been fascinated by the history and grew up hearing stories of the colony. He recently put out a book entitled The Lost Colony and Hatteras Island, and it tells about his findings along with a team of archaeologists from the University of Bristol. The book goes on to explain the lost colony and highlights the Native Americans who inhabited the area for thousands of years. He says, "We've got some evidence of a runaway slave they were harboring. There's lots of side stories that are in this book that have nothing to do with the colony." The biggest accomplishment of the book is not that they found the colony, it's that these Indians are no longer here. They showed nothing but love and charity and kindness to take these people in and feed them and assimilate with them and show them love and kindness, and no one even knows who they are. More than 400 years ago, Queen Elizabeth I and explorer Sir Walter Raleigh had hoped the 1580s expedition to America would start a new capital for England, but something went pretty terribly wrong. The ship carrying 115 explorers was the first to bring women and children to America. The group included Governor John White's pregnant daughter, Eleanor White Dare. A few weeks after they landed in Roanoke, Eleanor gave birth to the first English baby born in the New World and named her Virginia Dare. Governor White soon returned to England to ask for more supplies, but he was held up in England for 3 years because there was a war between England and Spain. When he was finally able to make it back in 1590, on his granddaughter's 3rd birthday, the colony was gone. Numerous theories have surfaced about what happened to the 115 English settlers. Some people say they died from disease, were massacred by either Native Americans or Spanish settlers, or they mingled into a nearby Native American tribe, either as friends or slaves. And other people believe a group traveled to Hatteras Island. This theory holds a lot of evidence because they found the word Croatan carved into a wooden post in the Roanoke colony. Bad weather conditions prevented White and the returning explorers from going over to Hatteras after discovering the engraved signs, and instead they were forced to go back to England, never to see his family or the rest of the explorers again. The Croatoan was a small group of Native Americans that lived along the coast of what is North Carolina. The tribe received its name from the nearby island Croatoan, which is now Hatteras Island. Like many of the natives living in America, when settlers arrived, they fell victim to all kinds of calamities, including infectious disease, like smallpox in 1598. Experts say they became extinct in the early 17th century. This tribe had learned to speak English, and they were also able to communicate with the Roanoke colonists. That's what led Dawson to search Hatteras Island for clues. He and Mark Horton from the University of Bristol started digging on the island in 2009 when they found copper rings, sword handles, earrings, a token, writing slates, even pieces of glass, and that led them to believe they came from the lost colony. But it was the items that appeared to have once belonged to women, as the 1587 voyage was the only one that brought them to the New World. Dawson says when these colonies became abandoned, you get massive political eruptions and disagreements and people walking out and things. So it's not unlikely that one group might have gone up the Chesapeake, up the Albemarle, but I'm pretty confident one group at least, probably the pretty substantial part, came out to Hatteras Island. He explained that the island provided clear views of ships coming to the shore, so that would be ideal to set up camp and wait for the returning vessel. The Native American communities living there were also friendly, and they served as allies. Dawson believes Hatteras Island was home to the survivors' camp, where the explorers may have set up camp when they first arrived on Hatteras from Roanoke. He also believes that the colonists eventually integrated with the tribe. The team was supposed to excavate the site in the spring of 2020, but the coronavirus pushed the work back to 2021, so it's still pending. Another clue was discovered in 1937. It's called the Dare Stone. Discovered on the North Carolina-Virginia border, the stone was believed to be written by Eleanor White Dare. Remember, she was Roanoke Governor John White's daughter, mother of Virginia Dare, and it possibly tells the story of what happened to the settlers when they left their colony on Roanoke. Scholars have since been able to transcribe the markings and try to understand the messages. According to the experts, the stone says more than half the settlers died, and eventually there was news that a ship had arrived off the coast. The Native Americans were alarmed that the Europeans might take revenge, so they fled, and soon after that, shamans warned of angry spirits, and all but 7 of the rest of the colonists were killed, including Eleanor's husband, Ananias, and her daughter, Virginia. The stone says they were buried 4 miles east of this river, and their names have been written on a second rock. The stone also notes that it should be taken to Governor White, and that the Native American who brings it to the governor would receive plenty presents. It was signed EWD for Eleanor White Dare. So the story of the lost colony continues, still one of the greatest mysteries. This is Carolina Musings.